Well, all right, everybody. Welcome back to the #1 television program in the history of the entire universe. At least for now. Might change here in a second. But I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown. All three books published, somehow, by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Now, this video today is a very difficult video for me to film because I am admitting that I have been living a lie, a half-truth, sort of perpetuating a fraud upon the fantasy book lover community, a career-killing mistake that I made that is just absolutely 100% evident inside this book, book number 3. Now, this is a mistake I've known about for some time. In fact, I made a brief Facebook post about it about a year and a half ago, where I semi-confessed to what I had done in this book that might raise offense. And a lot of you were like justifying it, like, hey, that's okay, that's not that bad. I mean, it's, you tried to make me feel good about something that just should not really anybody feel good about. And so I wanted to make this video today to sort of, confess the whole truth. Now this, my series, my fantasy series, epic fantasy, medieval fantasy, the technological advancements in this world are medieval, the most dangerous weapons are swords and axes and bows and arrows, and people ride horses and carriages and they live in castles. I mean, the technological wonders of this world, they don't exist, just in a medieval type of setting. And I'm going to read to you a passage from this book, and I want you to see if you can spot the colossal screw-up that I've made that should offend virtually every fantasy fan in the world. And here goes. Now let me set this scene up. I'm going to read a passage from the book. Let me set the scene up. The scene is a dog sees a corpse in the mud, but it's buried in the mud. The only thing that's sticking out are the 2 arms of the corpse. And so the dog latches onto one of the arms and tries to pull the corpse out of the mud. This is where okay. The bulldog snarled, baring wicked fangs, then clamped down on the upthrust hand, while all 4 paws dug into the slick mud, hind legs straining as the stout dog pulled backward. Then, like a submarine slowly rising from the dark sea, a body covered in soupy sludge emerged from the ground. Did you spot it? Did you spot the massive in that paragraph? Then, like a submarine slowly rising from the dark sea. There's no submarines in this world that I created. It's a medieval fantasy world. Medieval. There are no submarines. How did that word get into the book? Like I said, I mentioned this on Facebook a while back and tried to justify it. In fact, a lot of my readers were like, "Hey, that's okay. Justify." People were saying, "Hey, we Googled the word submarine. It goes back to the 1600s. Lord Francis Bacon was using the word submarine in the 1600s. All it means is underwater, submarine. That's all it means." And I was thinking, okay, we'll go with that. We'll roll with it. That sounds good to me. We'll roll with that. Problem solved. But my conscience ate at me and ate at me and ate at me, because I know when I wrote this passage, the metaphor that I was thinking of in my head as that dog was pulling the corpse from the mud, the metaphor I was imagining in my head, a scene from Hunt from Red October where a nuclear submarine was rising up out of the ocean. And I can't deny it anymore. I can't deny it anymore. It went in, that metaphor went into the book as is. I mean, it's just stupid, and it made it through so many edits, so many times. I mean, if you follow my channel, you know I edit. I am a masterful editor on these videos. I edit so much stuff on these videos, and I edit a lot of things in my books too. A lot of, I mean, I read every passage over 40 times before it goes to publication. Then it goes to the publisher. My editor there reads it once. Then 3 or 4 copy editors read it once. And those guys are pretty good at spotting in a medieval fantasy modern day vernacular or modern day, you know, things that people say to each other, words that don't belong in a medieval. And they'll say, hey, Durfee, do you really want that word in there? And I'll scratch it out. Somehow, submarine, the word submarine made it through 10,000 edits. And it's not one of those things where I knew it was that, like I saw it and I was just like, well, I'll edit that out later. No, it slipped through. And it's an egregious, it would be as if you're reading Lord of the Rings and there's a small passage where Gandalf logs onto the internet. You would be like, or a small passage where Gandalf is piloting a submarine. You would just be like, what? Does that make sense? So, I mean, I have to confess, these books are utter trash. Trash. They're a blight upon the world of fantasy. I've ruined the whole genre. Ruined the whole genre. And you know what? Here's the thing. The weight of this, the crushing weight of this. I feel like I've just been under so much pressure, like I've been like buried at the bottom of the ocean under so much water pressure. With knowing that I've done this and knowing the guilt, and I'm riddled and I'm just feeling the pressure, and I thought that if I confessed that it would be like I would be rising to the surface, you know, like floating to the surface, and that I would just be like a submarine rising from the, bubbling up out of the ocean, into freedom. I would feel better about all of this, but I still feel stupid. Having confessed, I actually feel stupider.